Good day, learners. Our subject for today is Mathematics 5 for Quarter 4, Week 7. And our topic is Experimental Probability. The most essential learning competency. After going through this lesson, you are expected to describe experimental probability, performs an experimental probability, and records results by listing. Let us read the given scenario. It is Sheila's 11th birthday, and she celebrates it with her friends in their subdivision. She went home with 100 pieces of sweet treats in her basket. She has 10 bubble gums, 20 mints, 20 mint candies, 35 strawberry candies, 25 gummy bears, and 10 coffee candies. Her sister took one from her basket. What is the chance that her sister got a bubble gum? When dealing with chances in math, we deal with probability. In the given problem, there are 100 candies all in all, and 10 are bubble gums. Therefore, Sheila's sister has 10 out of 100 chance of getting a bubble gum. In real life, whenever we do an experiment, two things can happen. Either the one that we expect or the one that we do not. When the result is what we expected, then it is a favorable outcome. Let us take another example. Celine tossed two dice. What is the probability of getting boxcars or two sixes? When two dice are tossed, there are 36 possible outcomes. For the favorable outcome, there is only one possibility that two sixes will occur. So here is the formula. P, or the probability, equals favorable outcomes over total possible outcomes. So that is equal to 1 over 36. So therefore, the probability of getting boxcars is 1 over 36. So these are the possible outcomes. Okay, so we have um, 1, 1 is to 1, 2 is to 1, 3 is to 1, 4, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, then 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4, and then 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, and then we have 1, 6, 2, 4, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and 6, 6. So that means there is only one possibility that two sixes will occur. Now, what is experimental probability? Experimental probability, it is the ratio between the number of times the event occurs and the total number of trials. For example, number 1, a coin is tossed 60 times. A head appeared 27 times. Find the experimental probability of getting heads. So for the solution, for example number 1, so the number of times the event occurs, yung head na nag-appear, over total number of trials. So that is equal to 27 over 60. Kasi 27 na nag-appear yung head over 60 trials. So let us make this into lowest term. So that is equivalent to 9 over 20. So therefore, the probability of getting ahead is 9 over 20. For example, number 2, a bag contains 10 red marbles, 8 yellow marbles, and 2 black marbles. Roma took a marble and returned it. After 10 trials, a red marble was picked 6 times. Find the experimental probability of getting a red marble. So, for the solution of the problem number 2, so again, the favorable outcomes, so getting red marble over total possible outcomes. So that is equal to 6 over 10. Okay, kasi 6 times na-pick ni Roma yung red marbles over 10 trials. So let us make this into lowest term. So we have 3/5. So that means, or therefore, the probability of getting a red marble is 3/5. For example number 3, the table shows the result of card experiment. Each time a card was picked, it was returned to the bag. So we have the card experiment, the outcome, and the number. So the blue, the green, and the red. So for blue, we have 27 number. Then green, 15, and then red is 8. So what is the experimental probability of picking A, blue card, B, red card, and C, green card? Okay, so we will be using this table, the card experiment, to answer the following questions. So for the solution, okay, so first is the blue card. The probability of getting a blue card. So the formula, number of times blue card was picked over total number of trials. Okay, so you have 27 over 50. So saan ang galing yung 50? That is the total number of trials. So we just add yung number of blue, green, and then red. So that is a total of 50. So that means the probability of getting a blue card is 27 over 50. Okay, so let's move on to red card. So the same number of times red card was picked over total numbers of trials. So that means you have 8 over 50. Okay, so we can make this into lowest term. So the answer is 4 over 25. So that means the experimental probability of getting a red card is 4 over 25. Next, we have the green card. So again, the formula is the number of times green card was picked over the total number of trials. So you have 15. The number for green card is 15 over 50. Okay, so pwede natin itong i-lowest term. So 15 divided by 5, the answer is 3. And then 50 divided by 5, the answer is 10. So the experimental probability of getting a green card is 3 over 10. For the development, learning task 1. So a die is tossed, and what is the probability of getting 1, 3, 2, an even number, 3, 7, and 4, an odd number, and 5, a prime number. Okay, so let us answer learning task 1. So what is the experimental probability of getting 3 when you toss a die? So the answer is 1/6, because there is only one number 3 in a die. Number 2, an even number. So we have 3/6, or that is equivalent to 1/2. Okay, so what are the even numbers? So you have 2, 4, and then 6. And then for number 3, 7. So the answer is 0 because there is no number 7 in a die. Then number 4, an odd number. So the same, 3/6 or equivalent to 1/2. Okay, so what are the odd numbers? So we have 1, 3, and then 5. And then a prime number, so we have also 3/6 or equivalent to 1/2. So what are the prime number in a die? So you have 2, 3, and then 5. So yung number 1, hindi na natin isasama because number 1 is a special number. Okay, for learning task number 2, for in the game rock, paper, scissors, determine the experimental probability. So here is the problem. In 31 tries, Ellie beat Janine 11 times. So what is the probability that Janine won? So for the solution, so we have the number of times Janine won and then the total number of tries. So we have uh, 31 tries minus 11. So saan nanggaling yung 11? Kasi yan yung nung natalo ni Ellie si Janine, that is 11 times. So, over 31, which is the number of total tries. So, anong gagawin natin? What is the probability that Janine won? So, ibig sabihin, si Ellie ay nanalo ng 11 times over Janine. So, that means, kung si Janine ang tinatanong, the probability that Janine won is 20 over 31. So, 31 minus 11, you have 20 and then 31. So therefore, the experimental probability that Janine won is 20 over 31. Okay, so for number 2 question, in 60 tries, May won 20 times. What is the probability that May won? So for the solution, so number of times May won. So over total number of tries equals, so 20 over 60. So yun kasi yung sa 60 tries, nanalo si May ng 20 times. So, i-lowest term natin, so that is equivalent to 1/3. 20 divided by 20, that is 1. And 60 divided by 20, that is 3. So, therefore, the experimental probability that May won is 1/3. Okay. So for number 3, in 40 tries, Ryan won over G 10 times. What is the probability that G won? So for the solution, so number of times G won, so over total number of tries. So ilan lahat yung tries nila? So 40. Pero ang si Ryan ay nanalo ng 10 times over G. So, ima-minus natin yung panalo ni Ryan. So, 40 minus 10, that is equal to 30. So, yung total number of tries is 40. So, that is equivalent to 30 over 40. And then, let us make this into lowest term. So, we have 3/4. So therefore, the experimental probability that G1 is 3/4. And for number 4, in 25 tries, Athena beat Karine 10 times. What is the probability that Karine won? So for the solution, so we have number of times Karine won. So over total number of tries. So si Karine in 25 tries, na-beat siya ni Athena 10 times. So, ang gagawin natin is we have to subtract 25 minus 10 to get 15 over 25. And then, make it into lowest terms, so 3/5. So, that means the experimental probability that Karin won is 3/5. Okay, for number 5 problems. In 10 tries, Raji won over Kael 3 times. What is the probability that Raji won? So for the solution, so we have the number of times Raji won. So total number of tries. So you have 3 over 10. Okay, so therefore the experimental probability that Raji won is 3 over 10. For learning task 3, two dice are rolled 10 times and the total number of dots are added up. Here are the outcomes of the sum. So you have 6, 7, 12, 5, 2, 9, 10, 5, 7, and then 8. Question number 1. What is the experimental probability that the sum is greater than 6? So we have the number of times the event occurs. So yun na yung greater than 6 over total number of trials. So, ano-ano bang mga numbers ang meron na greater than 6 dun sa outcomes? So you have 7, 12, 9, 10, 7, and then 8. So these are the numbers that when you sum the two dice that are being rolled, say that is greater than 6. So that means the total number of times the event occurs, yung greater than 6 is 6, over total number of tries, which is 10. So 610 or equivalent to 6 over, 3 over 5. Okay, therefore, the experimental probability of getting greater than 6 is 3/5. Okay, for number 2 questions. What is the experimental probability that the faces with 3 and 2 dots appear? Okay, so number of times the event occurs over total number of trials. So yun yung mga face with 3 and 2. So we have 5. So kapag pinag-add kasi natin yung 3 and 2, you will get 5. So we have 2 5s. So that means 2 over 10 or 1/5. Therefore, the experimental probability of phases 3 and 2 is 1/5. For question number 3, what is the experimental probability that the sum is an even number? Okay, so ang tinatanong naman is even number. Sum is an even number over total number of trials. So ano-ano ba yung mga even numbers dun sa ating outcomes? So we have 6, 12, 2, we have 10, and then we have also 8. So that means we have 5 over 10. Or kapag inilowest term natin, we have 1/2. Therefore, the experimental probability that the sum is an even number is 1/2. Let's move on to question number 4. What is the experimental probability that the sum is an odd number? Okay, odd number naman. So number of times the event occurs, sum is an odd number over total number of trials. So what are the odd numbers? So we have 7, 5, 9, 5, and then 7. So that means we have 5 over 10. That is the probability that the sum is an odd number, so we have 5 over 10. Or, kapag ini-lowest term natin, you have 1 half. Therefore, the experimental probability that the sum is an odd number is 1 half. Okay, for the fifth question, what is the experimental probability that the sum is 5? So, the formula again is the number of times the event occurs. Sum is 5 over the total number of trials. So, ilan ba yung 5 na meron doon sa ating outcome? So, we have 1 and then 2. So, that means we have 2/10, or that is equivalent to 1 over 5 or 1/5. Therefore, the experimental probability that the sum is 5 is 1/5. For the assimilation experiment, coin flip. So perform the given experiment and record your data in a table. So flip a coin 20 times and record the results. What is the experimental probability of flipping 3 consecutive heads? Which is more likely to appear in the majority, head or tail? Make a conclusion out of this. So you can use the rubrics. So you have the recorded data and the number of correct responses. So you will get 5 points with a complete record and with complete and correct responses. And you will get 4 points if the recorded is 15 up to 19 trials, and then with complete responses but with 1 incorrect answer. And you will get 3 points when you recorded 10 up to 14 trials with incomplete responses but with 1 incorrect answer. And you will get 2 points if you recorded 5 after 9 trials with complete responses but no correct answer. And you will get 1 point if you recorded 1 after 4 trials and no responses. For the assessment, determine the experimental probability. So for number 1, experiment, tossing 2 dice. A. 2 dice were tossed 10 times and boxcars appeared 8 times. What is the probability that boxcars appeared? Okay, kapag sinabi nating boxcars, yun yung 2 sixes. So we have P, so that is the boxcars, equals 8 over 10. And then, ating i-lowest term, so you have 4/5. For letter B, the dice were tossed 50 times and the sum of 6 appeared 15 times. What is the probability that is not 6 appeared? So we have this formula, P, so the probability or yung not 6. So ang total, ang trials natin is 50 and the sum of 6 appeared 15 times. Okay, yung sum na 15 or sum na 6 ay nag-appear ng 15 times. So ang gagawin natin is isusubtract natin yung 50 minus 15. So you will get 35 over 50. So ito yung not 6 na. So 35 over 50. So when we make it into lowest term, 7 over 10. So that means the probability that is not 6 appeared 7 over 10. Okay. For letter C, the dice were tossed 100 times and boxcars appeared 65 times. What is the probability that the outcome is not boxcars? So again, yung formula natin is not boxcars. So probability not boxcars. So you have 100 times, pero nag-appear ang boxcars is 65 times. So that means 100 minus 65 over 100. So that means you have 35 over 100. And ilo-lowest term natin, yung 35 over 100, you will get 7 over 20. So that means the probability of getting uh, not boxcars is 7 over 20. For number 2, experiment drawing from deck of cards and returning it after each draw. So for letter A, in 80 draws, King of Hearts was drawn once. So what is the probability that King of Hearts was drawn? Okay, so ang tinatanong lang is King of Hearts. So King of Hearts is equals to 1 over 80. So kasi sa 80 draws, isang beses lang na drawn yung King of Hearts. So the answer is 1 over 80. That is the probability that King of Hearts was drawn. So for letter B, in 75 draws, a card in red suit was drawn 60 times. What is the probability that a black suit was drawn? Okay, so we have the formula P is equals to 75. So 75 is the total draws and 60 is the red suit. So we will subtract 75 minus 60. So the answer is 15 over 75. So we will make this into lowest term. So the answer is 1/5. So that means that the probability that a black suit was drawn is equivalent to 1/5. And for letter C, in 25 draws, a diamond suit was drawn 10 times. What is the probability that a diamond was drawn? So we have the formula P is equals to diamond suit. So that is 10 over 25. So 10 times yung diamond suit over 25 draws. So the answer is 2/5. So that means the probability that a diamond suit was drawn is 2/5. And that concludes our topic for this morning about experimental probability. I hope that you learned something or you learned a lot from our topic this morning. So thank you very much and God bless everyone.